Good evening, Ronnie Rye. What a beautiful day today it was. Sun was shining. Just a lovely day. I had some people turn up on the campsite last night. A lady, to be honest, she drove me right off my head. She booked to stay in the red wagon. Now, I assume she wanted to stay in the ledge wagon. So we went up there, cut the grass, because we haven't had a chance to cut no grass. Clean the wagon out, put new bedding in, everything. She pulled up. I heard her down the bottom shouting, I was up the top. Are you Clarence? She said to somebody else. No, he's up there. So she walks up to me. I'm booked in the red wagon. I said, there it is, there, my love. I said, all done. Oh, no, that one ain't got no horses on the door. I said, well, the only wagon here that got a horse on the door is my own wagon. I said, the first one you see when you come in. Yeah, well, that's the one I want to stay in. Oh, that's no problem, I said, except for the fact I'd have to get it aired and put in some bedding. I've always wanted to stay in a gypsy wagon, she said. And but I'm disabled. I just hope my husband can help me get up in the wagon. So my dear little terrier was running around. So the dog went over to her and she cocked her nose up. I thought, yeah, you're one of these. So I called the juk back and sent the juk on his way. So she decided then she was going to go to the shop. I said, now what do you want to do about cooking? I said, I'll make you a fire and you can cook over the fire. Oh, no, I don't do any cooking, she said, because I'm liable to faint and fall in the fire. I said, all right. So I said, what do you want me to do then, my love? She said, we're going off there to get one or two bits and pieces, and we'll be back. I thought to myself, you ain't coming back. They did, but honestly, it was a nightmare. There's a lot of people, you see, that think it's very romantic to be in a gypsy wagon. And the truth of the matter is, if you haven't got to live in it full time, and you're only going to come for a short while, it is beautiful. But when you think about it, and if you lived in it, it wasn't so romantic then. So I could tell what she was. Anyway, they came back, they stayed in the wagon, but this morning they was gone by 7 o'clock, so I don't know. They never even said goodbye, kissed me ass or nothing, so I don't know if they liked it or they didn't. But just for anybody that's contemplating coming in, staying in a gypsy wagon, is a beautiful experience. Lovely. But you haven't got the creature comforts of home in one of their wagons, I can tell you. So anyway, that was that. So I want to go on now to one of my projects that happened to come my way. I was dealing with a man buying scrap off him. And you've heard me talk about this man before. His name was BF. I'll tell you his first name. He was called Brian. F is for his other name. So he said, I've got an invention. I'm trying to get off the ground. Can you help me with it? Would you invest in it? I said, depending on what it is, Brian. I said, if I like it. I said, I would have a go at it. All right, he said. I said, bring it up tonight and let me have a look at it. Up he comes. Now this bloke is an eccentric, schizophrenic man. So he invented this thing. Up he comes. Everybody was going on. We was in sitting down. He comes in. I said, where is it? Well, I've been thinking, see? I need you to sign a contract. I said, what's that for, Brian? Well, whatever happens, he said, I don't want to lose control. I said, all right, I'll sign up a piece of paper saying that you're the inventor and it's 50% yours and 50% mine. Oh, no, he said. I'm only willing to give away 35%. I said, well, what are you giving away 35% of? Nothing. Anyway, cut a long story short. He brings this thing in. Now, it was called a cue mate, as in snooker cue or pool cue. Now, it was just like a leather wallet, or more to the point, it was like a phone, phone. It was like a glasses case, made in a circle, where you could slide the cue through the middle of it. But it was impregnated with a special cloth that would absorb moisture and let a tiny smidgen of talcum powder out. So you brought it down over and then you pulled it off, and it made the cue very, very easy to use. It removed all the sweat and made the cue the action was brilliant. So I did like it. So we had to register the name, QMate, and that had to go through the process of getting a patent on it. So he said, I just want you to invest the money to get the prototypes made. I said, well, how much are they costing? He said, well, they want £1,000 for 10. That's all gold embossed writing on it, QMate on the front of it. He said, and all sewn up properly. I said, all right. I said, I'll go with that. I said, I'll invest £1,000. I liked it. So there was a man who used to sell me a lot of scrap. He used to sell me a lot of electronic scrap, because he had slot machines, jukeboxes, Space Invader machines. He supplied pubs and clubs and arcades and whatever. He was called Steve. I don't remember his second name at this time. So I showed it to him. Yeah, he said, bloody hell, that could, he said, something simple like that, he said, could take off. I said, are you interested, Steve? Yeah, he said, I am. Now, arranges a meeting with Brian and this Steve. Same thing, he had to sign up a contract, and oh, it was a nightmare. So much so, I mean, I didn't want to fall out with this Steve, because he was a good customer of mine, and we got on well. And this chap Brian caused a big row. I said, right. I said, I'm out. I said, if you make it big, just remember to give me back me £1,000. Oh, don't be like that, he said. Don't be like that. I said, I can't deal with you, Brian. I said, you're perfectly fine 1 minute. I said, in the next minute, you're like a raving loony bin. Anyway, he calmed me down and it was agreed that I was still involved. So in the meantime, I got hold of a mate of mine, Darcy Richards, Ed, we used to call him. Champ was his name. Anyway, he arranges for me through contacts that he had to take this thing to London and go and see Barry Earn at Matchroom. I never forget it. Goes up on the train now, 3 of us. So I'm paying the train fare to go up there. Gets up there, we've got to have something to eat, blah, blah, blah. Finds a Matchroom. And when we get there was a load of boxers there. There was another man called Eddie King was there. He was a corner man. And there was other professional boxers there who I knew. Not personally, but I knew. So when we got there, we were chaperoned into a place where, like a olden place. And that was next door to the snooker hall. And blow me if Steve Davis wasn't in there practicing at the time. So I'd seen a lot of famous boxers and Steve Davis. Anyway, we finally got shown into this man's office. I'm not joking with you. I've never seen an office like it. The carpet on the floor was that thick. When you walked over the carpet, you sunk into it. So, we waited for about, 5 minutes. In comes this Barry Earn. Now, what a lovely man he was. He looked at the product. He said, yeah, I'm prepared to take it on. He said, I can't say to you, he said, that I'm sitting here thinking I'm going to make millions from this. He said, but over a period of time, it could be very lucrative. How far have you got with the patents and this, that, and the other? He said, well, look, we'll leave it with me. He said, and I'll show it to a few of the players and see what they think of it. Then he starts, this Brian. No, I'm not leaving it here. We need to sign a contract to protect ourselves and this, that, and the other. I looked at him. I looked at Barry Earn. Now the man now has gone right off the boil. Right off the boil. He's not so sure about it now. And it wasn't at contractorial stage, and he had to find out if there was any mileage in it and if the players would use it. It would only take one endorsement from the player, man, to send it through the roof, that's for sure. But as soon as Brian opened his mouth, he killed the conversation. He said, I don't think I can take this forward under these conditions, he said. He said, your friend there is asking for a contract, he said, and there's nothing to sign a contract with. Over. He said, now I think I'll give it a miss. He said, thank you very much for bringing it into me. He said, if you don't mind, I've got other meetings. He said, my secretary will see you out. No going back to him or nothing. He gets outside the Matchroom then. And I went absolutely crazy on this fella. I said, that's the last time you're going to mess me about. I said, I'm out. When we get back to Cornwall tonight, I'm out. Oh, don't be a guy. I said, yeah, I'm out. I said, you do what you got to do. If you make it big, give me back my bit of money. I said, other than that, I'm out. All the way home now. Me and this Steve bloke was chatting amongst ourselves. Never talked to me all the way home. How he was getting that upset and that nasty and argumentative. In the end, I told him to fuck off. So he went and sat somewhere else. But we had it in the bag. Had we just given the man a chance to take it to one of his snooker players and maybe endorsed it, who knows what it could have been. But it never went anywhere. We come home, the Red Roof. Steve got somebody to pick you up, and Jed come and pick me up, and I left Brian Francis to his own devices. I said, no, mate. I said, that's the end of that. But it was something that could have caught on. The name in itself, Q-Mate, would have been something. But not he wasn't prepared to. So we come away with nothing. So that was the story of the invention. So for now, it's bye-bye from the Romany Rye. Have a good evening, and God bless you all.